A very warm welcome to a new episode of Melt. I'm Ritvika Gupta shooting from home. Despite the unprecedented global travel restrictions, tourism boards have uncovered ways to stay top of mind using digital to transcend borders and appeal to consumers amid the pandemic. One such example is the Singapore Tourism Board that's been continuously running campaigns to keep Indian audiences engaged, with the latest being a content tie-up featuring the popular Indian cartoon character Chhota Bheem. The seven-part series shows the cartoon character traveling to prominent attractions in Singapore and engaging in fun activities with his friends. To know more, we will be in conversation today with GB Sridhar, Regional Director, India, Middle East and South Asia, Singapore Tourism Board. Let's get ready to melt with GB Sridhar. Hello, Mr. Sridhar. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Ritvika. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Over the last 1.5 years, the travel industry has changed drastically. It's been a challenging time for businesses in the travel sector. Despite that, the Singapore Tourism Board has been doing a lot as far as marketing is concerned. And STB India in particular has been doing a lot for the Indian market. So recently, what caught my eye was the Chhota Bheem campaign. And I'm going to dive straight into it. Tell us your thought process behind choosing Chhota Bheem, and why did you think this was the right strategy to keep Indians interested in Singapore?
Ritvika, as you have rightly stated, the COVID-19 pandemic has been a huge reset button in many ways across governments, across countries, across various economic sectors. For the Singapore tourism, this has never been seen before. In fact, Chhota Bheem has been a project of intent for us for a few years now. I mean, he's a very positive character, a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of entertainment, and he connects with children very well. So the idea for the entire project was connecting with the children across India during this pandemic period, bring them some cheer, some fun, and let them enjoy an escapade to Singapore. So we positioned it as a gift of smiles to the Indian children across all over the cities. We did it in 3 languages, Hindi, Tamil, and English. And the idea was to present 7 episodes, Chhota Bheem and friends having a variety of experiences in Singapore. So essentially, it was presenting a gift of smiles to the children who are across India, studying at home or being cooped up because of the pandemic restrictions in place.
So, like you said, the campaign is interesting because it's Indian children. Why is this an important market for STB?
The family audience segment is an important market as a segment. And the family segment is also a segment which Singapore tourism for the last 2.5 decades in India have been cultivating very fervently. So for us, it was important, even during this pandemic period, how do we bring Singapore close to the hearts and minds of the family audiences and keep Singapore in their mindsets? So when the travel restarts eventually, the family audiences will consider Singapore again as a top choice destination for their travel.
So given the circumstances and with tourism being a far-fetched idea even today, what does STB want to achieve from this initiative, both in the short run and in the long run?
For us, it is important that as a destination, Singapore is in the mindsets and hearts of the Indian travelers. So they did a zoo tour virtually. We also had Brass Lion Distillery doing a concoction of gin making through virtual experience as well. And it was hybrid. So they actually were in their comforts of home doing the gin as the tour guide in Singapore was bringing them through the experience. It is making sure that our connections and conversations continue.
This is your second show on Woot. Tell us a little bit about this content partnership you have with Woot and how has this helped you achieve your objectives and also reach the target market?
Actually, I need to zoom out a bit, Ritvika. So Chhota Bheem, the content partnership with Wood Kids was one among quite a few partnerships that we have done. In any partnership, we look for like-minded, strategically aligned partners. And in Wood Kids, as well as Green Gold Animations, we were very fortunate to have the collaborators think alike about presenting very high quality content, very entertaining content, presented in a way which was entertaining but also informative.
there's been a drastic shift in consumer attitude towards travel and tourism. According to you, what are some of these change priorities, and what do you think are some of these changes that are going to be permanent, and which ones are going to be like maybe short term?
Well, it is going to be a very different environment when people do start traveling again in big numbers. And we do not even know when this travel in big numbers is going to be. Is it a couple of years, or is it going to be slightly longer? So they're going to think about what are the safety protocols in place, what kind of vaccinations are needed, what kind of safety protocols and demands have been put in place in the destinations, and how, as a consumer, as a traveler, how comfortable am I traveling to that particular destination? So safety and all that is related to it, vaccinations, insurance, travel costs, all of that will come into focus for a lot of the travelers. So that's one. Two, I think technology is going to be hugely important. Already we are looking at going digital, going contactless.
The crisis has also altered the way brands communicate with their consumers, especially in the travel industry. How do you think brands in this business need to communicate with consumers today in order to rebuild trust and confidence in travel again?
So we have always been very clear that we need to communicate as factually and as accurately possible, providing information which is relevant to our audiences. Communications has to be authentic. We use as much as possible true voices, whether it is in Singapore or whether it is influencers in India. True voices, people who have actually experienced Singapore, people who actually have a viewpoint about Singapore, and we use those voices to communicate. So authentic communications is going to be important.
There's been a lot of discussion about the new normal in the travel industry. It's not going to be the same anymore. What do you think are some of the traps that brands can fall into, if they continue to think in the old way?
One important point is going back to how it was in 2019, for example. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not for the next few years. We need to cooperate more. We need to collaborate more. We need to integrate more. And therefore, then the guest will have the comfort that, yeah, there's many things interwoven, and I'm going to have a good experience in that particular country or in that particular destination.
My final question to you, as a marketer, what have been your biggest learnings during this time?
Getting back to basics has been my biggest learning. So authentic, clear, empathetic communications and engagement with the audience is something that has been learned over this past 1.5 years.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sridhar. That was insightful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritvika. Thank you very much for your questions. It was pretty interesting questions, and I hope the audiences have some takeaway from these answers. Thank you very much.
And that was GB Sridhar sharing the importance of clear and authentic communication during this time. He is now presenting the Mel cheat sheet. Travel in the new normal will focus on safety, technology, and customized itinerary. Brands in the sector need to put out factual, empathetic, and authentic communication. Businesses in the travel industry need to cooperate, collaborate, and integrate in the new normal. And that's a wrap on this episode of Melt. You can follow us on social media. Our handle is Ready to Melt, and stay updated with all that's happening in the world of advertising and marketing with our daily Melt update on our website, readytomelt.com. I shall see you next week, same time, same place. Goodbye.